Are you looking for a build that can contact dunk like the best of them, disrespect your opponents while at the same time hitting contested threes, shot creating in the mid range like prime Tracy McGrady or Kobe Bryant, driving to the basket at will, hitting all sorts of contested dunks and layups, with the ability to break ankles and break your defenders down to combo with some of the best shot creation techniques, all while being a disruptive defender who can steal and block like a prime lockdown while still maintaining the ability to create for your teammates. Whether you're a beginner or advanced user, this 6-8 build is for you. And watch out for part 2 for a deep dive tutorial on animation and techniques. But here's the build summary, here's everything you need. 5 cap breakers will go to driving, dunk, and mid-range, but one important part of this build is it's an athletic beast. So raise your physicals to these thresholds, and believe me, it will raise and elevate the game of this build to a whole nother level. Let's start with elite finishing. So with 80 vertical, we're going to pair that with an 88 driving dunk, and you're going to add 5 cap breakers to bring that up to 93. This build, as a result, will get all sorts of contact dunks, finishing over multiple defenders. You'll get gold posterizer and Hall of Fame aerial wizard, and in my opinion, this is the sweet spot if you're any kind of serious slasher. Just take a look at how I disrespect multiple opponents, whether I'm using the dunk meter or just standard dunks. This build gets contact dunks and basically almost all of the elite dunk animations that you will need. Now don't worry about that 48 standing dunk, that's gonna be more than enough. And an important part of this build is the ability to get strong handle. That's why we aim for 85 strength and 81 ball handle, using these strong handle combos where once my defender puts his hand on my hip, I just push the left stick to the left or the right towards the open side to burst past my opponent, and if someone's out of position, just use contact dunks to yam it down their throat. Since we're gonna be 6'8 with a 6'10 wingspan and an inability to get gold lightning launch, that Hall of Fame strong handle is gonna be so crucial to beat our opponents. And yes, it works against 99 perimeter defense demons. As you can see right here, a simple push of the left stick to the left swings our arms, gets a blow by, and an easy contact dunk animation. So this build invites contact 100%. Don't be afraid of that contact and use it against your defenders. And more importantly, with an 81 ball handle and 75 speed with ball, you'll get James Harden dribble style and use a lot of my favorite animations to break your defenders down, burst past your defender, and finish through contact with all sorts of elite dunk animations. Once again, I'll have a separate video giving you a tutorial of how to break your defenders down. But even if you don't, and in a lot of ways you'll be shooting guard or small forward, you will backdoor cut your way into the easiest buckets that you'll get in 2K with 85 speed and agility and with slice takeover. Why I call this build the baby oil bandit is even though you don't have the ball in your hands, your ability to change directions, burst with slippery off ball, and just get easy backdoor cuts will sleep your way through 20 points without even trying. Now with an 80 driving layup, you will get silver physical finisher, and in my opinion, that's all you'll need. I've equipped Austin Reeves layup style right here, and just take a look at how I finished through contact. By being a crafty finisher, you can max +1 that to gold to be truly elite, but in my opinion, this is all you need since we'll be focusing on dunks, but it's good to have high layup as well because sometimes you'll get pulled into these layup animations instead of dunking. The other core offensive part of this build is that you will be a midi menace. Now with a 93 mid-range due to our cap breakers, and because your defenders are gonna guard the paint because if you're elite slashing, the mid-range will be open all the time. You'll have Hall of Fame, set shot specialist, gold shifty shooter, and gold dead eye. And once again, the threat of the drive opens up your entire game with that 81 ball handle and Harden dribble style cross with a lot of your shot creation animations out of your step backs, your go-to shots. You'll be able to be an elite shot creator from the mid-range. You'll have the option to max +1 either shifty shooter or set shot specialist, and in my opinion, you should put that to set shot specialist to truly be disrespectful. But as you can see, you're being 6'10", and against smaller defenders, you can just shoot over them at will at 6'8" with a T-Mac based jump shot. In my opinion, you should be fine with gold dead eye. You'll be shooting through your defenders, whether it's moving shots or standing shots. Hell, you can even post your defender up even with a 50 post control, just because that post will be rated at a 93 as well. Using the 6'8" shot creator has been so fun. Now, this will also be a solid range shooter even though you just get 75 3 ball. With Hall of Fame set shot specialist and with the potential to raise that to a legend set shot specialist, you will have more than enough to be a way competent shooter. I'm shooting around 55% on pretty high volume on this build, and as you can see, I can shoot through contested shots even with just Hall of Fame set shot specialist. By putting our 3 ball to 75, we're able to save those attributes and put them to other categories, which will make this build that much more impactful. And we put that on defense and our physicals. Starting with a 79 steal rating combined with our physicals and silver interceptor and silver glove, you will be disruptive in the lanes or on ball, being opportunistic to give you chances to have fast offense by creating turnovers. I've had games where I've had 8 steals on a 79 steal build. It's kind of nuts how disruptive this build can be. And your ability to create transition opportunities is gonna help your team so much in open floor settings. Just take a look at how I transition from defense to offense with the physicals on this build to finish at will. And the ability to quickly change directions with that 85 agility, potentially up to a 92 with slice takeover, has been so fun. The investment in physicals raises the floor and the ceiling of this build to make it a much more dynamic threat on defense than an 80 speed and agility build would. Now, with 68 block and 80 vertical, you will be a sneaky rim protector. You get bronze, chase down specialist, or whatever that badge is, and that is more than enough to be disruptive on defense, getting great blocks and great contests, whether that's in the interior or the perimeter. It's crazy, man. Even though my defender leaves me behind, I'm so quick and agile that I'm able to change directions and get chased down blocks at the last minute. Like, look at that. I'm way behind transition and someone actually slipped past me for a backdoor cut, but the ability to jump high quickly, change direction quickly is so clutch. And with 86 perimeter defense and that 85 strength, you're able to get Hall of Fame immovable enforcer with your max +1, which is so clutch. And if you get veteran 2, you get additional 5 cap breakers. You can put that to perimeter defense to get your gold pick dodger and your gold challenger, your gold on ball minutes, which will also be clutch. But again, this is where speed and agility really helps raise your ceiling as a defender. Even though you have just an 86 perimeter defense, that's more than enough as long as you're able to keep up laterally with your opponent. As you can see, I'm able to shift quickly left and right, recover, cut off my defender, and they're mostly surprised at my ability to really get past screens and contest the right way. Now, you might be thinking that there's gotta be some sacrifice, and the sacrifice is a 71 pass accuracy, which is not necessarily the zippiest pass rating, but you're still gonna be able to function as a secondary creator. And as you can see from these clips, these passes can get zippy enough. Now, you're gonna have to be really judicious with when you make those passes, make sure that your opponents make those gambles. And as you can see, you can still get some nice break starter animations. I just wouldn't push it by being careless with your passes like a 90+ pack accuracy build can do. But I have been a secondary or primary creator at times with this build and got double-digit assists games. It's all about managing when to pass rather than just passing at will. Now, if you enjoy what you're seeing out of this build and want to see my shot creation technique and animations complete with the dunk style animations and the jump shot animations that we use, give the video a thumbs up and I'll provide a part 2 deep dive into the animations. Now, for build alternatives, you might want to lower your driving layup. I don't recommend you do. If you want to raise your 3-point to 80, go ahead. It opens up a new set of takeovers that could be useful. And then maybe you want to get T-Mac animations, but I'm not really too big of a fan of the T-Mac dribble animations. They're fine. They're just not, what I would necessarily chase. You're gonna have to sacrifice some of your physicals. And in my opinion, you're sacrificing too much with this build alternative, but I'm just giving you ways to possibly customize this build the way you want. Like I said, if you're not a layup guy, maybe this is fine for you. You still get bronze physical finisher, but you just sacrifice too much and you lose a lot of that dynamism from this build. So I don't recommend that you make these tweaks, but if you want that 83 ball with some of the nice takeovers that go along with it, sure, this is a possibility. Another possibility would be to make this a more dynamic finishing build by, let's say, raising the standing dunk to a 72 to get bronze rise up. But as I mentioned earlier, I think a 48 standing dunk is more than enough, and that driving dunk that gets us to 93 with those cap breakers is also pretty fun. But again, there are ways to customize this build depending on your playstyle and your preferences. I'm just giving you different ways to tweak this build, and if you want to be strict with getting shades of Tracy McGrady, I think this is the version that gets you Tracy McGrady shades. But I'm not necessarily a fan of chasing shades of certain builds, but I know some guys can get really critical by saying that this is a T-Mac build because of this and that. But once again, this version of the build gets you Tracy McGrady as a shade, just to show you that we are on the right track in terms of creating a Tracy McGrady build. And there you have it. For season 6, I made what, in my opinion, is a beginner-friendly build that has a high ceiling for high-skill users. I'm averaging around 22 points per game, 4.5 assists on 55 3-point field goal percentage, averaging around 1.5 steals per game, and being disruptive on offense and defense. I mean, on defense mostly. I don't want to be disruptive on offense, but I have the ability to facilitate, take over, function in the corners, function in the wings, function as a primary ball handler and shot creator, and basically have the ability to do whatever I like on offense. You're gonna be dominant in the mid-range and attacking the basket, which is gonna make your ability to be wide open from 3 that much easier. If they have to respect the mid-range and your ability to drive, as I've shown in multiple clips, your defenders will most of the time want to cut you off from getting to the basket, setting up easy wide open 3s, or that mid-range specialist role that will open up for you as a result. So there you have it. This, in my opinion, is one of my favorite builds, and in many cases goes against my usual playstyle. A Kevin Cruz build typically doesn't have dunk, doesn't have steal, but in this situation, I've made, I think, the right choices. With, the other disclaimer is you're gonna need 10 cap breakers for this, and if you're like me that doesn't play too much but has been playing so far from the start of season 1, then you'll have 10 cap breakers by the time this video is made. But even though you don't have cap breakers, I think this build is still pretty much valid. You'll still be fine with an 87 to 89 driving dunk and an 89 mid-range. That still pretty much keeps the core of this build intact. Again, those cap breakers just raises the ceiling of what you're able to do and get away with, especially against higher level opponents. But even without cap breakers, I think this 6'8", 6'10" wingspan and 204-pound Tracy McGrady build captures everything you need to be elite as a casual player in NBA 2K25. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm sorry for the extended absence. Work has been crazy. As you know, things have been crazy around the world, that's impacting a lot of our jobs. So I had to take time for that, but I'm going to continue with a series of new videos after this one. So stay tuned.